This is Ronnie ONeil, a double murder suspect in Riverview, Florida.
If you think I'm here to play around with y'all, goddamn it, I'm not.
ONeil was 29 years old when he fatally shot his then-girlfriend, Kenyatta Barron. He then murdered their 9-year-old daughter with a hatchet, stabbed their 8-year-old son, and set fire to the house. ONeil was arrested while fleeing the burning house. The son survived, but was seriously injured and burned. The event began with a 911 call from the girlfriend, who screamed before abruptly hanging up. 8 minutes later, another call was received from ONeil.
911, what is your emergency?
Hey, I just been attacked by some white demons inside Kiki. Kiki, her name is Kiki, and she tried to kill me.
What's she at?
Huh?
Following his arrest, ONeil was cleared to defend himself in court. Trial, he cross-examined his 11-year-old son, whom he stabbed.
It's good to see you, man.
Good to see you, too.
Did I hurt you that night of this incident?
Yes,
I did. And how did I hurt you?
you stabbed me.
ONeil also accused the prosecution of fabricating evidence.
Because he's playing a fraudulent damn recording of me beating Kenyatta Barron. I did kill Kenyatta Barron.
After ONeil was found guilty and sentenced, the judge stated that it was the worst case she had witnessed in her career.
This is the worst case ever in my life, and I have seen some horrors.
He added that he had no regrets about what he had done.
I am not sorry for something I didn't do, and I am not sorry for the things I did do.
In addition to receiving 3 life sentences and 90 years without the possibility of parole, ONeil's son was adopted by the detective who looked after him the night of the murders. Randall Moore is facing 3 life sentences for crimes against his former wife, Therese Ann Lynch. Lynch had filed a protective order against him, which resulted in more kidnappings and killings. Officer Todd Rowland responded to the cries from the apartment, where he was shot and wounded.
Damn, I've been hit.
Okay, 303 Adams been hit, officer down. Suspect's armed with 20 shells. Advises nobody come to the door, as he will shoot again.
Moore spoke with a 911 dispatcher and explained the reasons behind his actions.
I didn't want to do any of this.
Okay.
But I'm telling you, all I wanted was my son. I just wanted to see my 7-month-old baby. That's all I cared about.
Moore surrendered shortly after, and Officer Rowland needed hand surgery. When the conviction was read, Moore only nodded slightly.
We, the jury, find the defendant guilty of murder in the first degree. We, the jury, find the defendant guilty of kidnapping in the first degree. Guilty of sexual abuse in the first degree. Guilty of attempt to commit murder.
At Moore's sentence, Lynch's mother presented a victim impact statement.
What you did to my daughter, Therese Ann Marie Lynch, was evil, hateful, and despicable. You are now dead and rotting and repulsive to me.
Read the journal she wrote. She hated you.
Thank you, Judge.
She hated you.
Thank you.
You're a loser.
Moore refused to apologize for his actions, claiming not to be sorry for what happened.
I'll tell you point blank, I have not 1 ounce of remorse for Therese Ann's death. It could have all been prevented. All you had to do is let me see my kid. Now you're never going to see her again.
But now comes the judge.
If anybody didn't know what a piece of work you were before you start talking, they know it now. The court doesn't allow me to punish you any more than I'm doing now. If I could, I would.
Moore was given a total of 3 life sentences plus 25 years for the attempted murder. This is Keith Ferguson from Kalkaska, Michigan, facing 12 felony counts, including kidnapping and murder. Ferguson, who was 40 at the time, was engaged in a divorce argument with his wife Tiffany Ferguson when he begun to suddenly beat her, followed by fatally shooting her in front of their 4 children. He then hauled the children over to Tiffany's parents' house, where he fatally shot his father-in-law after fleeing the scene. Ferguson stormed a nearby house, taking the owner hostage, and barricaded himself inside the home after a 7-hour standoff. Ferguson was arrested.
The defendant is already murdered and murdered multiple people and fled and has taken hostages.
During Ferguson's court appearance, his attitude and remorse for the situation baffled everyone.
All right, Mr. Ferguson, can I get you to stand up there at the podium, please? All right, I need to have you raise your right hand for me. Okay, all right.
Just pull me back from my cell.
Okay, stop.
Tiffany's best friend gave a victim impact statement at Keith's sentencing, stating that she always suspected Keith would harm his wife.
I knew one day he would kill her. She would always reply, "He loves his kids too much. He won't kill me. He loved them so much, he murdered their mother and grandfather."
Ferguson refused to visit or communicate with his children after being asked. The judge responded by saying,
"You may not meet the clinical definition of insanity, but there's clearly something fundamentally wrong with you."
Ferguson was given a life sentence without the possibility of parole.
I'll see y'all in hell.
This is Michael Swanson, who was 17 when he went on a killing spree of 2 Iowa gas station attendees in the span of an hour.
Where did you shoot? On the body? Yeah. In the face. In the face? Okay. Why the face? I thought I was just going to shoot to injure her. Why would I shoot her at all?
Swanson entered a gas station in Elgano, Iowa, with a ski mask and a handgun, demanding cash and cigarettes from 47-year-old Vicki Bowman Hall. Despite her willingness to comply, Swanson shot and killed her an hour later. Swanson committed the same crime at another gas station, killing Sheila Myers. He was apprehended 60 miles distant from the incident after authorities connected his vehicle with both victims, but they were killed regardless, indicating that murder was Swanson's primary purpose.
How did it feel when you pulled the trigger? I mean, some people say that, it feels powerful or that it's kind of a rush, or what did you feel when you pulled the trigger? I felt powerful.
Swanson faced charges of first-degree murder and burglary. All motives were answered by himself.
I then intentionally, deliberately, and with premeditation shot the clerk, causing her to die. I did this with a specific intent to kill her.
Now, as one of the victim's daughters gives a victim impact statement, Swanson sits completely emotionless.
How could you do what you did to my mom and my family? I want to know if you're even sorry. Are you sorry for what you did? My mom was not only completely 100% innocent, but she was also a defenseless woman when you came in with that gun. You said you did it for cigarettes and money and so no one could identify you, but I think that's a lie. You did it, as you later said on, that it was so you could feel powerful.
As Swanson was sentenced, he smiled and laughed.
Cold-blooded murder. Cold-blooded murder, young man. You are dangerous. You are unpredictable. Prison for the rest of your life.
Swanson received 2 life sentences, and 4 years later, he slit another inmate's throat.